Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be showing off Venusaur, an underappreciated mon who reaches a crazy speed tier when its chlorophyll ability is active, which doubles its speed in the sun. It also gets access to the move Growth, which gives you a +1 to your attack and special attack, but under sun the effects are doubled. And after just one turn of setup, Venusaur can be a fast sweeper that really hits like a truck. And we're going to just get right into the first match here. And my opponent is going to lead off with their Bastiodon. Super big, thick, crazy lead as I lead off with good old Sandra Shocks. I kind of want to get my rocks up, but I do want to just pivot out. I kind of imagine maybe they'll switch, but they don't. They stay in, and I get to Volt Switch out. It does a good bit of damage to them, shows maybe they're going to be more physically defensive. And as I can go into whatever I want, I decided to go into Torque Hole just in case they want to set up rocks. I can spin them away or, you know, try to get some damage or a burn off, and also get the sun up. So as I come in with Torque Hole, I do get the sun up, which is awesome. And they go for block, which is not a move that I've ever seen the animation for, I don't think. And it just locks me in so I can't switch out. And against the Sandy Shocks, I don't know what the plan was with that. But, you know, they're trapped in here with me now as I can go for a Yawn. They set up Reflect, which is fine. I don't have any physical attackers on this team. And I go for a Yawn here to try to force them to switch. Or if they stay in and get put to sleep, they're like dead weight, basically. So I kind of imagine that they're going to switch on this turn. They eat a little bit of leftovers, but I can't switch until they do because of the block. So I go for a Lava Plume here. I imagine that they switch, and I kind of want to get a burn on something. And it'll do good damage in the sun also. And as they switch into Floatzel, it comes in, and it does take a Lava Plume in the sun. And this is not a really bulky Pokemon, so it does take a bunch from that, almost half. And I do want to switch here. I don't want to take any damage, you know, on the Torque Hole just yet. And it's a basically free switch into Venusaur if they click a water move. So as they come in, Venusaur comes in. I'm ready to get this thing set up. As they go for an Aqua Tail, it barely scratches me. And I have the leftover, so I do heal a little bit from that also. Now I am free to just go ahead and set up my Growth here. I want to get that set up as early as I can, you know, try to make use of these sun turns while I have them. And they do switch, so it's basically a free Growth anyways. And they bring in Typhlosion. And I'm actually like kicking myself because I don't have the Earth Power coverage on Venusaur, which sucks. I'm just choosing to run Weather Ball and Sludge Bomb and then just Solar Beam in the sun. But I'm thinking that in the sun, my best damage here is going to be a Growth in the sun. Is going to be a Weather Ball in the sun, and that's going to do a ton of damage. And I do go for the Terra Fire here just to resist a fire attack coming from them. But also it'll boost up the damage of Weather Ball to like crazy heights in the sun. And I know that this Typhlosion, the Hisuian one, doesn't get Flash Fire, so I can just click this for free. And I am going to go for that Weather Ball. It's going to be boosted. I have the candles on my head. I'm layered up with my flower and the candles. And it almost kills it in just one. As they go for a Flame Charge, I now resist it, so it's not going to really do anything. And they get a +1 to their speed, but they're going to need two Flame Charges to be able to outspeed me. I heal a little more from my leftovers, but I know that they're not going to be able to take me out. Their Reflect goes off, but that doesn't matter for Special Attacker. And I just click Solar Beam here to finish it off. I kind of expect maybe they'll switch into that Floatzel again, but they don't, and a Solar Beam kills this anyways. And in the sun, luckily I can get that off in one turn, and that's going to just take care of the Hisuian Typhlosion. So that can be a really fast, you know, scary Pokemon when it gets up and going. And so now I'm sitting here, I do eat my leftovers again, and I heal heal again a little bit. And now I'm doing pretty good. And they bring in the Overquill. I love this thing's design, such a cool Pokemon. It comes in, it gets the attack drop with Intimidate. And I can basically just kill this thing with a Weather Ball too. I was kind of thinking maybe they had like a defensive Terra or something, or maybe it'd be Sashed, but they're not, and they're not, so one Weather Ball, Terra Weather Ball +2 in the sun is going to be more than enough to take care of an Overquill. And just like that, we're really running through the team. Unfortunately, the sunlight does go away here, so we do lose that speed. And that water damage is not going to be cut down from the Floatzel. And they do decide to bring in the Floatzel here. And I know that I'm not going to outspeed, and also don't want to take a big water move. And I have everybody at full health now, so I can basically just go back into Torque Hole to set that sun back up. And they can't really do anything to stop it. So I bring in Torque Hole here, and this is max defense Torque Hole, so I'm really not afraid of this Floatzel anyways. And I come in and set the sun up, and they do go for a Wave Crash in the sun, So it's going to be less damage, and look at that on max max defense Torkoal. I barely get touched by it. And I go back into Venusaur here. I'm kind of expecting that they'll switch because they saw that damage, and maybe they'll go into something else, but they actually stay in. When I switch into Venusaur, I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to take a big water attack probably. So I come in, it gets dark again from the Terra, and they go for a Wave Crash, which does almost half to me. It does a bunch of damage to me, and they take a lot in recoil. But I do live it, and I heal with the leftovers, and I should outspeed this thing with my Chlorophyll and finish it off with a Solar Beam. But they actually outspeed me in the sun, and the only way that that's possible is I am not fully speed invested. I'm not max speed on this Venusaur, so I don't actually outspeed a Floatzel that's max speed with a Choice Scarf. So they do outspeed me. Luckily, I am able to take another Wave Crash and finish it off with a Solar Beam, but that scared me a bit. Seeing that Floatzel outspeed, I had no idea it was Scarfed. It's so fast already, you would never think to see that. But then they do bring in, the floor goes away for a minute, Electros. And I'm kind of thinking that this thing might be Assault Vested. These things are often Assault Vested. And I go for a Weather Ball. I don't have that growth boost anymore, unfortunately, but check that out. A Terra Weather Ball in the sun just takes out Electros. And we love to see it. And we really are winding it down now. They have just the 2 Mons left. And that Bastiodon from the beginning and a Rabska. And I'm kind of scared of, and I've never, I don't see this thing a lot, but I know that it has Revival Blessing, so I'm kind of scared of this thing bringing the Floatzel back to life. So I do want to pressure it with a Weather Ball, and they do have a defensive Terra here. So we're not going to be able to get the full sleep with Venusaur, unfortunately. And as they go for the Terra, it is going to be defensive, it is going to be Terra Fire. And that's going to let them, take a Weather Ball pretty well. These things are really specially defensive, I think, Rabska. And I do outspeed because of my Chlorophyll, and a Terra Fire Weather Ball in the sun fires off, and it doesn't even do half. It does a good chunk, but they are able to live it, and one Psychic is gonna finish me off. And Venusaur is gonna go down here, my big fat frog, unfortunately, but not before tearing through literally most of the team, and I can clean it up with the 5 Mons I have left. And I decided to just go back into Sandy Shocks here. And I can finish this off with an Earth Power. And I actually get the Protosynthesis to get a special attack boost, so now I have more than enough damage to handle what they have left. Being this Rabska and the Bastiodon. And I am going to outspeed. One Earth Power is going to just take it out now. It's super effective because of that Terra Fire. And the Rabska does go down, and we know that all they have left is a Bastiodon who... And I broke it sturdy earlier if it was sturdy and not soundproof. So I did break it sturdy with my Volt Switch earlier. And now it's just him and me. And I can finish it off with an Earth Power. It's 4 times super effective, and with my special attack Protosynthesis boost. I don't care how defensive this Bastiodon is, it is not taking an Earth Power. And that's going to take it out, and that's going to wrap the match up for us. Venusaur really tore through in that one. And a shout out to Sandy Shocks for cleaning it up. And that's going to bring us into the next match now. My next opponent here starts off with a Meloetta, which is not a mon that you see a lot, as I lead off with just my Sandra once again. I want to get my rocks up this time. Looks like they don't have any way to get rid of that. And I kind of want to prioritize just having that, you know, chip damage up from the rocks. So I do get up my rocks here. I'm kind of curious what this Meloetta, this turn 1 Meloetta is going to do. And as I get my rocks up, they actually go for a Relic Song. So they are going to be trying to transform into the other form. And it does a bunch of damage to me and puts me to sleep. I didn't even know this move could cause sleep, but it does put me to sleep, pops my air balloon also. Really rough turn for Sandy Shocks. And then this thing transforms into its much faster, stronger form. And now I'm like, well, I decided to conserve this and bring in Torkoal, just because if it is going to be a physically offensive one, Torkoal is so physically bulky that I know I can take attacks from this. And as I bring in Torkoal, I come in, I get the sun up, and they go for a stab close combat, which doesn't really do a lot to me. Now I kind of want to pressure this thing out with a Yawn and try to get a spot for Venusaur to come in. And as they stay in, they go for a Shadow Claw. It does even less because it's not stab. And as I get my Yawn off, I decide to stay in because I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to want to stay in, and I don't want to switch Venusaur in on a big attack, like a triple Axle or something. So I decide to stay in and go for a Lava Plume. As they close combat again, that's going to drop their defense. It's another at -2 special defense as I fire off this Lava Plume. And I'm like, maybe this will just take it out and the yawn wasn't necessary, but it drops it down to like 1 HP, and that's at -2 with a Lava Plume in the sun, brings it down to 1 HP, and they do fall asleep from the yawn. So now I decided to switch into my Venusaur here, as I know they have to take a required turn of sleep, at least one. So I can kind of get in and try to set this thing up now, pretty early. So I bring in Venusaur, they do take that one guaranteed turn of sleep. Now if I can get them to sleep for one more turn, I can get this growth off for free. So I do go for the growth, and in the sun, that's going to double my attack, and more importantly, double my special attack. And they do get the turn 2 wake up, so that kind of sucks. And they get a Shadow Claw, which with a crit does a good bit. But I have my leftovers, so now I'm faster than everything, and at +2. And I heal a little from my leftovers, and I decided to just finish this off with a Sludge Bomb in case anything wants to switch in, but it doesn't, and the Sludge Bomb picks off that last HP. And now we're fully set up with Venusaur in the sun. We're at doubled speed, doubled special attack. We're pretty healthy, and we keep healing off these leftovers. There's not a lot they can do to stop it, really. And they bring in Uxie here, who's probably specially defensive. And the one thing that can knock out a specially defensive Uxie is a Terra Fire Weather Ball in the sun. So I do Terra Fire once again. This one's okay. It's like a Chandelier, I think is alright. I think it's cool that it goes on top of his flower, so it's like he has the flower and then another layer. A third, scarier layer. And I go for the Terra Fire Weather Ball in the sun, and I'm at +2, that does a ton of damage. And that's just going to knock out the Uxie, so that's awesome. Even if it was Focus Sashed, I got my rocks up, so it's probably their first answer is the Uxie. They're probably like, oh, this thing's specially defensive, it can take a hit. And I heal a little more from my leftovers. I did have to bust my Terra there, but I'm not really upset about it. Nobody else really needs it that bad on this team against their team. And they bring in Palkia, who's also really specially defensive, but it comes in, it has pressure, which, you know, is fine. And I decide to Solar Beam here. I'm thinking that a +2 Solar Beam just kills this thing. It is going to be Stab, and because of the sun, I don't need to charge it. So a +2 Solar Beam, I charge it up, and I fire it off. And that's going to be enough to take care of the Palkia. It gets a crit, which might have mattered if this thing was like Assault vested or specially defensive, specially invested maybe. So the crit, you know, helps us out there, and the sun does go away this turn. So now I lose my speed, but I tore through, basically, I tore through the only answers that they had for the Venusaur, except for this. Once again, I am missing the Earth Power. I revealed that I don't have Earth Power, and now they're basically free to come in with this and just start wailing on me. So I decide to switch here. Into Grafai. I imagine that this thing maybe is going to set up with like Cosmic Power or something. I've seen these things a couple times and they do that, so if I can Encore, that'd be helpful. But it just goes for a Dynamax Cannon. And I'm max specially defensive, so I actually take it pretty well. I heal a little from my Black Sludge. But now I'm like, well, there's not a lot that I can do against this, so I decided to just go for a Sunny Day. I do want to get my sun back up before I bring anything else in. And I'm kind of scared of this Eternatus because I don't really have an answer for it. And it goes for another Dynamax Cannon, which, you know, we saw from the damage on the first one that a second one is actually not going to be able to kill me. And I heal a little more for my Black Sludge. And I'm like, what can I do to make this like worthwhile to have Grafai in here? And I decide to go for an Encore, because if I can lock this thing into a Dynamax Cannon, then it won't be any more of a problem. So I go for an Encore, but it actually fails. So I guess this is my first time ever seeing this. Like, I guess you can't Encore Dynamax Cannon, maybe because it's a special move, I don't know. But they finish me with a Flamethrower, and I go down. But I got the sun up, and I'm thinking that I can maybe try to get some damage off with my Charizard here. I know that I can get a super effective Scorching Sands, and with my Solar Power boost in the sun, it'll do a bunch of damage. And I'm thinking that maybe I can even outspeed this if it's not max speed, if it's not going to be max speed. And as they go for a Dynamax Cannon, they actually do outspeed me, and it does a ton of damage to my poor Charizard. So as I get the Scorching Sands off, it's not gonna be enough to do enough. It doesn't get the burn also. Scorching Sands allegedly has a burn chance. I have never gotten the burn. And they're all going to outspeed. Another Dynamax Cannon finishes me off. And now I get to switch into whatever I want. And I'm thinking that maybe with the chip that I got from that Scorching Sands, I can finish this with a Terra boosted Weather Ball in the sun. And I am going to outspeed because I do have that sun up still. And I just go for the Weather Ball just raw with no growth. And with that Terra boost, it is going to fire off. And in the sun, it does not kill it. It lives it. It still lives it. And as they go for another Dynamax Cannon, It does a bunch of damage to me. It almost kills me, but it doesn't. And the sunlight goes away this turn, so now I basically have to switch back into Torkoal to get that sun up. I don't have the Heat Rock or anything on Microfire, so I don't get the 8 turns. I get just the 5. So as I go hard switch back into Torkoal here, if you can believe it, they are going to just click Dynamax Cannon again. And I bring in Torkoal. I do get the sun back up, so that's going to help. And now I am going to outspeed with Venusaur. I'm going to be able to outspeed with Venusaur. And they fire up a Dynamax Cannon. And at this point, I'm like, how many Dynamax Cannons? Like, what's the PP on that move? I don't have an Eternatus. I would love to know what Dynamax Cannon is all about. So it does take out a lot of my team with a billion Dynamax Cannons. But I know that now I can come in, and I know that I outspeed it with the sun up. And we saw that damage earlier from the other Weather Ball, so I know that this one is going to be enough to just pick it off. I should just say I didn't click Growth and see if they had any more, if they had more Dynamax Cannons. But the Weather Ball is going to take this thing out. Not before this Eternatus really put the work in on my team, though. So we get rid of it, but at what cost, you know? And it is going to take it out. We don't have the Growth anymore, so we don't have our big boost, but we do have our speed. And I do heal a little from the leftovers. And they go into Ogerpon Cornerstone. Shout out to Ogerpon Cornerstone. This is my favorite Ogerpon form, and you never see this. And I'm thinking that they're going to Terra here, because they haven't Terra'd yet. And I'm like, surely they're gonna Terra here to resist a Weather Ball. So I go for a Solar Beam, kind of thinking that I'm like Galaxy Brain, but they don't Terra, and then they can live a Solar Beam, so that sucks. And then an Ivy Cudgel is going to take me out. So I am down bad, and I'm like, oh, I might just wipe to this Ogerpon, because that was my only Terra. And now I can go into whatever I want. I have the Sleeping Sandy Shocks from earlier and Entei, and I'm thinking that with Entei I might actually be able to pull this back. What they have left is a Zacian, who is going to outspeed Entei, and I'm thinking that if I can outspeed this Ogerpon, I can kill it with a Flame Charge. And I do outspeed, kills it with a Flame Charge, and now I'm at +1 speed. So I am going to actually be able to outspeed that Zacian. So I'm thinking that a Sacred Fire in the sun hopefully is going to be enough to kill this Zacian. I know Zacian is super duper bulky, so it comes in, it takes a little bit from the rocks, but as long as it's not Scarfed, I am going to, or I guess it's not Scarfed because it has the sword. So I'm going to outspeed always with my Flame Charge in. So I just go for the Sacred Fire, that's all I can do. And luckily, it isn't to take it out. That was kind of scary because I thought that if I wasn't, I thought that I wasn't going to outspeed the Ogerpon, and then I was like, well, what if this Zacian lives? But they don't, so that wraps up the Battle Force. Thank God for Entei. And we do have one more match here we're going to get into now. For the last match here, our opponent is going to lead off with Meganium, who is not a mon that you see super often. I'm kind of not sure what this thing wants to do. So as I open with Sandra, I don't want to be put to sleep if this thing has Sleep Powder or something, so I decide to just Volt Switch out. I just want to get out of here. But they actually go for a turn 1 Protect, which I think is kind of crazy, just to scout what I'm going to do, I guess. I should have clicked Stealth Rocks on that turn. But I don't, so as I Volt Switch, it does not do anything, and I'm like, well, I guess they were just scouting for information to see what I was going to do, but now that they know I'm going to do that, I click Stealth Rock here, because I'm like, well, now they're going to switch into something to take that. But they actually don't, they just stay in, and I get my Stealth Rocks up, and they go for a Light Screen, which is gonna hurt my Venusaur, it's gonna hurt this Sandy Shocks, it hurts basically everything that I have. And I tried to just go for that Volt Switch again, but they go for another Protect. So it kind of sucks because they're really blocking me from doing anything with the Sandy Shocks really like switching out in terms of switching out, but it does waste another turn of their Light Screen. So if they're not Light Clay, this is really ticking down on these Light Screen turns. So I decide to Volt Switch for the 3rd time, and they don't go for a Protect this turn, and I get my Volt Switch off. It barely scratches it, but I do get a switch. That's going to bring it back to me. And I can kind of go into whatever I want. I decided to just go into Torkoal here because I can take Grass attacks from this and also get my Sun up. Just sort of get things going for my Venusaur. I have my Rocks up now. I'm ready to go. So I come in and the Sun goes up. And the Meganium actually goes for Reflect. It's going to be a Dual Screens Protect Meganium. I would love to know what this thing's 4th move slot is. And I kind of switched because I know that this thing can't do anything to Venusaur at all, basically. So I decide to hard switch, and they've been clicking Protect every other turn, so I'm also kind of expecting a Protect this turn. So I hard switch into Venusaur, trying to get him up and going. And as I come in, they do go for a Protect, so that was a great free switch. And now I basically get another free turn to go for this Growth because their Light Screen is up for one more turn if they're not Light Clay. And I know that this Meganium cannot hurt me at all. So they do switch into Infernape here as I go for my Growth. They come in, they take a little from the rocks. And I go for my Growth, which is going to bring me up to that doubled attack and special attack. The light screen does wear off this turn, thankfully, so I am going to be able to kill just with a +2 Sludge Bomb on this guy. And that's going to have to do it. I wish I had the Earth Power again. A Sludge Bomb would have killed anyway. A Sludge Bomb kills anyways, but the Earth Power... In all these matches, I'm like, I should just have Earth Power instead of Sludge Bomb. It really hasn't helped. I thought I was going to have more Fairy problems. But they go into Mewtwo here. And I know that Mewtwo is specially defensive as hell, and I don't really want to risk it. So I just go for the Terrifier. I don't really need it on anything else. And I'm kind of set up really good with the Venusaur right now. So I'm going to go for that Terra one last time. My little triple layer Venusaur. Well, now it's kind of growing on me now. I don't know. These candles are cute. And I get my Weather Ball off in the sun at +2 with the Terra boost. That is going to be enough to kill pretty much anything. And it wipes the Mewtwo off. And now I'm set up pretty good with Venusaur. I wasted my Terra. I used my Terra, so I can't Terra anything else. The Reflect wears off. That doesn't really matter either. But I have pretty good coverage for everything. And as they bring in Komodo, I can only really click Sludge Bomb into this thing. And I'm kind of scared that it has... like bulletproof or whatever its ability is. I'm kind of scared that it's gonna like block Sludge Bomb, but they do just run. They decide to save the life of the Pokemon they have left. They decided to, not to let Venusaur tear him to shreds, which is an honorable decision. And that's gonna be the end of the match. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I see you again next week. Bye bye.